Hey everybody, it's me, Ash Stone with my crazy hair. I am going to tell you a story of probably the most racist thing I've ever heard someone say. And welcome to my channel if you just happen to find this video. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good jazz. But if you like random videos, fun odd tales, fun facts, random skits, whatever, then I'm definitely your girl. So hit that button down there. Anyway, so I live in Pennsylvania, and I used to run Radio Shacks. So I have lots of fun stories about those. And this one in particular is about a very, we'll say, sweet, eccentric little old lady, for lack of a better word. She has probably passed on now, so I'm not going to be rude about it. But I just realized I say a lot. I don't remember her name. She went by like Mrs. whatever her name was, so we're just going to call her Mrs. Smith. Her husband had passed on years before that. I have a couple really other fun stories about things she had said to me, but one of them, the most racist thing she ever said to me, she came into the store and I was helping her with a home phone battery, if I remember correctly, and she was asking me about people who'd used to work there before. I had just taken over the store not too long before that, and Mrs. Smith was asking me, oh, what happened to this person and what happened to that person, and finally she says, oh, there was a girl that worked here. And I was like, oh, yeah? She's like, yeah, she was a little colored girl. And I was like, oh? And I'm thinking, she just doesn't know any better. You know, she's been on this planet for so long that in her time, that was socially acceptable. I'm like, all right, there's nobody else in here to hear what she's saying, because at that point, half of my staff was African American. So I'm like, oh, whew, let's hope she doesn't say this is the wrong person. She's like, her name was one of those ethnic names. And I was like, oh, and I'm like, okay, so she knows the word ethnic, but she also referred to her as colored. And I'm like, oh, do you mean, and I said the girl's name, and I don't remember for the life of me now, but she's like, oh yes, her, she was very sweet and very nice. And I said, oh, well, you know, when I took over, she had put in her 2 weeks because she was graduating college. This is in a college town. And she says, what happened to her? I said, well, as far as I know, you know, she got a job closer to where she was from. She moved back. She's like, oh, that's good. I'm glad she found a job. You know, you have to watch. And I'm like, oh gosh, I am about to open a can of worms. But I asked anyway, watch what, Mrs. Smith? She said, and I quote, you have to watch those colored folk because they steal things. They don't do it on purpose. It's just in their blood. And I was taken aback. And again, was at work, so had to watch what I said. And I had no idea how to reply to this. Not a single clue. And somehow I think all that I said was, oh, and she kept going. She's like, yup, you know, those colored folk, they just like to take things that don't belong to them. And I was like, oh. And I remember looking at English, Ashley. I remember looking her in the eye and just thinking, maybe she knew someone at one point that was a klepto, and that's where she volunteered the information. Every colored person I've ever known just liked to take things. There was one back in school with me who liked to, and I was like, oh no. Oh no. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I listened for about another 30 minutes, her telling me this story about some guy that she knew that went to school with her that was a klepto. And now she has associated all African Americans with being kleptos. And that, my friends, is probably the most racist thing I have ever heard anyone tell me. And I have heard some pretty bad things. Yeah. Why don't you comment down below the most racist things you have ever heard another human say. Alright. Bye, guys. Toodles.